So I also want to highlight when we're looking at when we looked at the health history of our participants. When we looked at the health history of the participants, we noticed that at least over half of our participants had at least one chronic condition. So this often within the organizations, the departments, when people have more than one chronic condition, it really impacts the data collection that we had. There was a standard question that was asked of everybody: how do you identify First Nations, Métis, and Inuit? And from feedback that we got from participants, some participants didn't feel that represented themselves as First Nations. They identified themselves as Ongwahoe or Haudenosaunee, and we want to make sure that when we're doing future research, we're doing future surveys or studies, that people feel represented in these studies. So if you are on the Menti, feel free to add how these types of studies, in these types of surveys, do you identify as First Nations, or do you identify as Mohawk Bear Clan, such as myself, or do you identify as Ongwahoe? So that's what I'm looking for. So if you want to add those here, I see some people added their nation, their clan, Haudenosaunee, identifying as a mother, a grandmother. Okay. Oh, great to see we already have responses. So one of the findings that Tristan noted was that we always have a higher proportion of females participating in research studies. So what we asked was, how can we recruit more males so that they are represented in the surveys? So we want to go where people are at, go where people feel comfortable. So some of the responses that were given was more incentives. I see a few golf courses, so we'll have to hang out at golf courses. Look for men to be champion recruiters, to have these conversations with their peers. Engage to have their male families and friends participate. Those are all great suggestions. And then the next question is around some areas that we can really focus in with the data. So we can really focus in what specific groups that we want to look at. So one of them, what specific groups of people are you curious to learn more about through the study? Elderly, elders, so we will have some data later on around those specifics. So if you have any additional thoughts on groups or types of people that you really want us to look into, then add that to the Menti or your notes. And 5% of our participants directly reported history of a positive COVID-19 test. Of those who reported having a confirmed COVID-19 infection, 6% needed hospital care due to COVID-19, highlighting the virus's severe impact on some individuals. We also looked at whether people experience proteins or specific antigens within the blood that would reflect that the person had exposure to a natural infection. So in the first visit, 30% of participants tested positive for COVID-19 antibodies. So that indicates a likely past exposure to the virus, and the body created a natural immune response. When you look at the second visit results, by the second visit, the percentage of antibody-positive participants increased to 40%, showing more individuals had been exposed over time. And if we look at the context of when people were doing their visit to, it was during the Omicron the Omicron variant, and there was a large amount of people, stats in community that were exposed to the virus. 437 participants said they never had COVID-19. Of those participants, 23% did test positive for natural antibodies. So this suggests that the individuals may have experienced an asymptomatic infection. So that means they didn't have any symptoms. They weren't doing regular screening, so it wasn't picked up on an actual infection. Of those who only had a COVID-19 infection at baseline, the amount that continued to have antibodies present indicating a natural infection decreased at visit 2. So this suggests a potential waning of the immune response. So that means potentially people who were infected had a positive infection at visit 1, had antibodies. Over the course of 6 months to the visit 2, their antibodies were no longer present. So that means their immune response may have decreased over time to that natural infection. So in the qualitative interviews, participants talked about their own experience with COVID-19 infection, as well as the experience of loved ones who had COVID-19 infection. Many said they believed having the vaccine improved their immunity against COVID-19 and led to decreased severity of COVID-19 infection. This was reiterated by those who had COVID-19 multiple times, who said before vaccination their COVID-19 experience was severe, and after vaccination their COVID experience was more mild. Some discussed having long-term impacts from having had a COVID-19 infection, including experiencing pain and respiratory issues. And participants spoke to the impact severe COVID-19 infections can have on the community as a whole, specifically around elders in the community who are considered knowledge holders and are older adults. So this is about the vaccine and the immune response. So a large portion of our participants were vaccinated. 89% received at least one dose. Of those 89%, 97% of participants received received both doses. So that means a large portion of people, if they got the first dose, they also got. Fewer participants reported receiving 3 or more doses. And just a note on that, not all participants completed one of the first slides. Of the 658 participants that received 1 or more doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, 1%, so 8 people, had an adverse event requiring hospitalization. And those are largely due to anaphylaxis or allergic response. So in the qualitative interviews, there were vaccinated participants that expressed questions around what the vaccine is, and some questioned why they may have received multiple doses of the vaccine. So when we looked at the antibody response to the vaccine, among those who received 3 or more vaccine doses, 100% tested positive for vaccine-induced antibodies. And that was at visit 2. All right. Yeah.
Great. So this slide sorry, just going to put this mic. I'm a lot taller than Sarah. So when we explored why people chose to get the COVID-19 vaccination, sort of 3 big themes popped up. So for people who chose to get vaccinated, more than 50% of them chose to because they believed in the science behind the vaccine. They believed that the risks outweighed the benefits and that getting the vaccine was something that they felt comfortable with. And then when looking at sort of other popular decisions, about 30% of people indicated that they got vaccinated due to vaccine mandates. So these might have been restrictions, someone's ability to, travel restrictions. So that was reported by about 30% of people. And then about 17% of people said that they were influenced by others. So these might be their friends or their family. And during the qualitative interviews, we noticed that those who might have been a little hesitant to get the vaccination for one reason or another, generally, if they chose to get vaccinated, it could have been related to them sort of talking to their friends or family. So it sort of communicates how relationships are really important in our community, and how that we trust one another and lean on one another when something might not be totally clear and there's sort of a lot of information being thrown at us. So when we look at the reasons why people who were not vaccinated, it was sort of tied between them thinking that the vaccine was rushed in some way, so they didn't feel comfortable taking it, or they were worried of the side effects of the vaccination that chose them not to get vaccinated. And we also had about 24% of our unvaccinated folks who indicated that they did not believe the vaccine was necessary to protect them, and potentially that their body could fight it on their own. Yeah. Anything to add?
From that, they primarily obtain their COVID-19 information from friends and family. This, again, what Tristan spoke to, this emphasizes the strong reliance and trust on personal relationships within our community, as well as the power of the word of mouth in community. The second, media. So a significant portion, around 43% of participants turned to traditional media outlets for their COVID-19 updates. And those are things like the television, radio, newspaper. And the next most common trusted source, over 20%, were healthcare and official sources. So over 20% of individuals look to more formal sources for their information, including healthcare providers, provincial public health bodies, and their coworkers. And lastly, between 27 and 30% utilize social 27% utilize social media for their COVID-19 information, and 30% use local media. So our local radio station, our local newspaper, our local community website for their COVID-19 information. And we also looked at those who do not have a primary care provider, because we saw healthcare providers being a significant source of COVID-19 information. For those who did not have a primary care provider, they still sought information from a healthcare provider. So this highlights the importance of all healthcare providers playing a role in informing their clients around vaccination, so that they can make an informed decision around the risks and the benefits of vaccination. So we do see in the data, we did see that many people chose to get their information from provincial and federal sources rather than community-based ones. Why do you think this is? A lot of people have stated that have participated that it's quicker information, that everybody has different thoughts, and that community may not have the knowledge. It's also a quicker and easier source of online info. So if anyone else has any other additions on why there's a preference towards provincial or federal sources, feel free to add those, and a lack of trust. Okay, we looked at the different types of impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we broke those up into physical, mental and emotional, relationships, work life, and education. So in terms of physical, we looked at public health adherence to the measures that were in place. So a large portion of participants did follow the many public health measures in place. 82% of participants wore a mask, often or always. 93% of participants practiced physical distancing, often or always. 83% of participants avoided crowded places, often or always. And 84 participants avoided common greetings such as handshakes, hugs, often or always. And within the interviews, people spoke to wanting to protect their friends and family, wanting to protect community at large. And we do have a quote from a community member that participated in the interview: "We do protect our own out here." So another thing that we looked at was limitations to daily life for those with a history of COVID-19 infection. So a majority had a COVID-19 infection and did not have any limitations, and some may have had a small amount of limitations. That is, people who had symptoms lasting longer than 4 weeks. But there were some people that had occasional or even severe limitations that impacted their daily life, continued to impact their daily life. And going on to mental and emotional, so while we did do a great job of following the public health measures to try to reduce the spread of COVID-19, due to the restrictions in place and the public health guidelines in order to prevent the spread of infection, it did have some impacts on mental and emotional well-being. So at the time of visit 1, all participants reported some degree of depressive symptoms, with 51% experiencing moderate to severe depressive symptoms. So we looked at how did participants' mental and emotional health change from the pandemic. And we looked at specific groups: families with kids, students, essential workers, and older adults. So I will highlight students as a group. So as you can see from the graph, students were more impacted, their mental and emotional health was more impacted than some of the other groups. As you can see that more students reported that their mental health was worse over the course of the pandemic. And you can also see that reflected in essential workers. However, families with kids, you will see a slight improvement, more people choosing improvement over the course of the pandemic. In terms of the qualitative interviews, participants talked about isolation, that in some cases, isolation strengthened their relationship with their family, and it pushed them to learn new skills and enhance their relationship with traditional foods and medicines. So we did see that some community members did experience an opportunity to learn new things and strengthen relationships. Participants did note that they had difficulties with not being able to attend things like longhouse ceremonies and community gatherings, and that it negatively impacted their mental health. Participants identified that COVID-19 restrictions led to isolation and loneliness, as well as unpredictability regarding the pandemic, which negatively impacted them mentally and psychologically. And one of the questions that we'll have after I go through this section is, what were some ways that you coped during the pandemic? Or what are some ways that you could be supported in the event that this occurs again? The third impact that we looked at was relationships. So 50% so in terms of community trust, 50% of participants agreed or strongly agreed that community can be trusted. Those who lived off reserve more frequently reported that community can be trusted. 69% of participants agreed or strongly agreed that people often do favors for one another. And when we looked at how the pandemic impacted family relationships over the course. Among our participants, they largely reported that the relationships remained about the same, with some noting that there was a bit more distance, particularly in those in friends. And in the interviews, many participants identified that they were stressed about the idea of infecting their vulnerable loved ones. People discussed knowing about people having some relationship problems. Those who were unvaccinated felt that others would pass judgment onto them and feel discomfort around them. Participants identified vaccination as a source of tension and division in the community and within families. And the last impact we looked at was work life and education. So looking at change in employment status was largely unchanged over the course of the study. So between visit 1 and 6 months to visit 2. But some groups were disproportionately impacted, and those included essential workers who felt a pressure to go to work or were experiencing burnout from work, as well as families with kids. So families with kids did experience some pressure to go to work, burnout from work, and learning. 4% of students in our study, so that means they were 18 or over in post-secondary, reported burnout from the demands of remote learning. With our qualitative interviews, vaccination status impacted several practitioners who were required to take the vaccine in order to continue their job during COVID-19 due to closure. Despite stress and fear of infection associated with having to continue work in person throughout the pandemic. Others indicated difficulty trying to do their job while wearing masks or maintaining physical distance. Around, what are some groups you think need more support after COVID-19? So kids who did the online studies, families that lost someone, high school students, anyone who lost their job, service providers, everybody, parents, the pandemic response team. So what's that? Okay. So we did note that many experienced anxiety and depression during the pandemic. How can we best support mental health and recovery? So some suggestions include many more safe supports with 24-hour access, having better reach-out services, Zoom classes, people to talk more easily. There's many barriers with contacting doctors. And acknowledge that you aren't alone, acknowledge that they aren't alone, how others manage their time alone, being able to walk in nature, have more community events. And here are some responses for how people maintained positive things in their life during the pandemic. And lastly, why do you think families and kids felt more pressure and experienced higher burnout from work compared to other groups? So some people are speaking to single-parent homes, and that's something we can look at specifically with the data that we have. How did homes, single-parent homes, how were they specifically impacted? All right, and that's our presentation. That's the results that we have so far. Again, there will be more analyses that we can do, more questions that we can answer with this data, and we welcome your feedback on what we should look into further. Our approach with looking at the data is to really think about how can we apply this and use this for community. How can we inform the things that we're doing? How can we inform future emergencies, potential future outbreaks? So thank you everyone who participated in the Menti and any responses that you wrote, we'll have someone collect them, and everyone who okay.
Also, so there's going to be a page going around with a QR code. So if you'd like one of these booklets mailed to your house that has sort of the data that we presented here today, please just feel free to fill out your information on there and we'll mail it to you. But yeah, we wanted to give you all, we cannot say how gracious we are. All of you have really helped us, getting this data so that we can use it to help the community. And I don't believe I mentioned this, but over 80% of the people employed who were in our study were essential workers. So it just shows how all of you really work together to keep our community going. So on behalf of the study team, a big nyawe to you all.
A little bit behind. Before we have our lunch, we'll do our first raffle. So our first raffle is the 2-night stay in the cabins with our cooler full of goodies to enjoy in your cabin stay. Where's the raffle? So we're just getting the raffle opportunity throughout the day to get more raffle tickets. How many Walmarts are we doing? 5? 10? Okay. Okay. So I draw the numbers and I do the number thing. Okay, here he comes with the raffles. Attack him if you did not get your raffle ticket in. Do you want to do the honors or will I?
Sure.
This is for a Walmart gift card, by the way.
Oh, I thought it was for the cheese whip thing.
We're doing 10 Walmart gift cards and then the cabins. So our first Walmart gift card is 2891637. 2891637. If you have that number, put up your hand. You have to be here to get a raffle prize.
You're just going to bring them the Walmart gift cards?
I don't know, Maggie said something.
I'll tell Maggie too. Here's the next one. I'll say going once, going twice.
Going once, going twice. Okay. Walmart gift card 2891115. Hey, first Walmart gift card. You will bring over your prize. Can you come back with their tickets? This is 2. Next one, 9494009. 9494009. Got it? Over there. That's 2.
You have another one?
We're doing 10, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Next one. Walmart gift card number 3, 9494144. I think over there. Put your hand up nice and high so Kendrew can see you. Two 2891677. Over here. He's getting his steps in today. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Walmart gift card number 5. 2891488. That table again. Okay, he knows. That's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, next one. 2891584. 2891584. Over there. A vendor. 5, 6. Number 7. 2891290. Right in the middle. 2891654. 289. All right, over here. Blue table, light blue. What are we at? 8? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, so 3 more than the grand prize.
3 more?
We're at 8, 9, 10.
No, this is 9.
Okay.
2891520. 2891520. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sure.
So this is the
Last
last one.
Walmart gift card. 9494057. Behind the board. Do I put these guys back in?
Pardon me?
Or should we wait for the next one?
Doesn't really matter. We can put them all back in. No, let's just take them out and we'll put them back in after.
Okay.
Awesome. So for our first grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at the Chiefswood Cabins, and 2, if I must say so myself, because I did it, beautifully put together gift bags with a bunch of goodies, s'mores, Monopoly, that sort of thing. So we have 2891674. 2891674. Woohoo! Oh, Brianne. Okay.
So we take that person's out.
Yeah, Brianne. Okay, so we'll put those ones back in?
Do we? Because people have multiple
Okay. And now, I don't know what we have. So what are we doing next? Is the food
lunch.
ready? Is it ready? Yeah, it looks like everything. I'll double check.
All right, so that's the first portion of our day. We're just getting food out. And then you guys can eat. So let's have our priority tables, our front tables, those who have hearing, any seeing challenges, elders, Let's get them up for food first. Is the food ready? Food is ready, so you can start lining up, making your way over there.
Do a test there. And there's a monitor here if you want to be able to hear yourselves. Is that good? You want to just give this one a test too?
Test.
Good?
Should we do
You
it?
need to adjust the stand.
Should we do it standing up?
You want a chair?
Maybe sitting down.
I think standing up is good just so they can see us. Yeah.
You can have a chair. So that you...
No, it's fine. That's good.
Oh, mine not.
Good?
Yeah.
Test.
Testing. Zabatunde.
Wakatunde.
Okay. Segu Zawagwegu, the Haswateta ni Waxanoda, Danone Yunkungarawi Ganto Ayagadara Nodane Ungedara, Danawatski Rama Hadadan Aduzak and Jagadasava Yagadara Noda.
Sego Zawagwego, Gazahayandu, Niunjats, Gahnawage, Ni the Wagatanju, Dano, Waxkarewage, Dano, Ezo Yuriwage, Ni Wagadiri Hunde, Ganto, Nexi, Umawanizerade, Ganto Jadajat, and Aguaderano Tase, Nenioni, and Dekewanara Guanis, and IDLA. Just to translate, my name is Gazahayandu Lazar, and this is my good friend, the Haswateta Doreen. And we come here today to sing a few songs to you guys. And we both do work with singing. We do work with the language, with the Mohawk language and the Cayuga language. And I also want to mention that I am also an ambassador for IDLA, Indian Defense League of America. And so we're gonna get started, and I hope you all enjoy.
gai ni yo yo hai ni gai ni yo yo hai na gai na bia he ya yo yo na ne wa he ya gwa de no da gai ni yo yo hai ni gai ni yo yo hai na gai na bia he ya hey hey ho down Sunday agua de hey agua de no de gai ni yo yo hey ni gai ni yo yo hey na gai na bia hey ho down Sunday agua de hey agua de no de gai ni yo yo hey ni gai ni yo yo hey na gai na bia hey yo yo na ne wa hey agua de no de gai ni yo yo hey ni gai ni yo yo hey na gai na bia hey ho down Sunday agua de hey agua de no de gai ni yo yo hey ni gai ni yo yo hey na gai na bia hey yo yo na ne wa hey agua de no de gai ni yo yo hey ni gai ni yo yo hey na gai na bia hey yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane ha yo ha 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 ya he na kana ya he yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane ha yo ha 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 ya he na kana ya he yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo ha 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 ya na kana ya yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo ha 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 ya na kana ya yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo ha 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 ya na kana ya he ya ho hey yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane ha yo ha 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 ya na kana ya hey yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane ha yo ha 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 ya na kana ya hey yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane ha yo ha 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 ya na kana ya hey yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane ha yo ha 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 ya na kana ya hey yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane yo hiane ha yo ha 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 ya na kana ya hey ho Nave Navio ve kai navia hey ya Navio ve ya hey ya hey ya hey ya Navio ve kai navia hey ya Navio ve ya hey ya hey ya hey ya Navio ve kai navia hey ya Navio ve ya hey ya hey ya hey ya Navio ve kai navia hey ya da gari denyo we a he ha we a he ha we a na ka na we a he a ka na kwa ne ong kwa ne ko ra jon he kwa yo to do ni o he da ge ka na we a he a as ka na hi ga kwa ne ko ra ge yung da gari denyo we a he ha we a he ha we a na ka na we a he a ka na kwa ne ong kwa ne ko ra jon he ko yo to do ni o we da ge ka na we a he a yo we ane kanana we os kana I gane gato vanjagi kana we he ya ha na we he na yo we ane kanana we os kana I gane gato vanjagi kana we he ya Wani zeriya na deva jatadoroge kano sesne we are he wade wara no heste kaina we he ha kanena we he na yo we ane kanena we os kana I gane gato vanjage kaina we Heya wani zeriya dewa jatadoroge kano sesne we ahe hade wala no heste kai namya heya Doctor J. Dayodi Nyoje, Owen Tadaje, Kainavia, Hea Quase Yung Walerasvio, Gane Ore Ganio, Doctor J. Dayodi Nyoje, Jone Kong, Kainavia, Hea Segon, Gane Ore Ganio, Doctor J. Dayodi Nyoje, Owen Tadaje, Kainavia, Heya Quase Yung Walerasvio, Gane Ore Ganio, Doctor J. Dayodi Nyoje, Jone Kong, Kainavia, Heya. Heya Segon, Gani Ore Ganio, Doctor J. Dayodi Nyoje, Ohanza Daje, Kainavia, Heya Segon, Gani Ore Ganio, Doctor J. Dayodi Nyoje, Ohanza Daje, Kainavia, Heya Kose Yung Walerasvio, Gane Ore Ganio, Doctor J. Dayodi Nyoje, Jone Kong, Kainavia, Heya Segon, Gani Ore Ganio, Doctor J. Dayodi Nyoje, Ohanza Daje, Kainavia, Heya Kose Yung Walerasvio, Gane Ore Ganio, Doctor J. Dayodi Nyoje, Jone Kong, Kainavia, Heya. No ayo he nagane wa he agwadano neskanye kainavya he havedot kende he ho nagane wa he agwadanega jongwate jongwande o hadayenda kainavya he ha naga wane ne o doktage no ayo he nagane wa he agwadano neskanye kainavya he havedot kende he o nagane wa he agwadanega jongwate jongwande o hadayenda kainavya he yo he nagane wa he agwa jano nesken ye kana bya he ya nagawane de dokta ge no yo he nagane wa he agwa jano nesken ye kana bya he ya hamen dot kende he ho nagane wa he Yang the nigga, Jungwa the Jungwa, they all had a end on and of ya. Hey, nigga, one of the old doctor gay, no, hayo, he, Anganewa, Helguadrano, Nescan, ye, kind of ya. Hey, haven't dot candy, hey, ho, Naganewa, he, Yang the nigga. Chung qua ta chung quen tiêu hà đại yên đông gai nào ya he ya Johnny on Guay ho dan kind of ya hey ya Johnny on Guay ho dan on Guay ho kind of ya hey ya hey why night go honey oh gani oh go yogi yo dan Johnny on Guay ho dan kind of ya hey ya Ni hong quay hồ đà hong quay cái nam ya he ya ha ga ya ge yo ta jo ni hong quay hồ đà hong quay cái nam ya he ya ne vai nai go ni yo cái ni yo ga ho ya ge yo ta jo ni hong quay hồ đà cái nam ya he ya ha ga ho ya ge yo ta jo ni hong quay hồ đà hong quay cái nam ya he ya ne vai nai go ni yo cái ni yo ga ho ya ge yo ta jo ni hong quay hồ đà cái nam ya he ya That's about it for our set. Nyawa. Nyawa.
I don't know what it's about, so I don't
Oh,
know.
I know what she does. Okay, are we good? Okay, are we good? Tristan? Good? Hello, everyone. We're going to get started, but we're going to have a video playing. So as you enjoy your meal, there will be a video playing. So this next one upcoming, unfortunately, she's not able to be here today. She's feeling unwell. But it's from our community research coordinator and analyst, Cheryl Dorr. So Cheryl is our community research coordinator, and what she does is keeps up to date on the research that's going on in community, helps support research projects, supports the ethics committee. So what she's prepared a video presentation, and what she's prepared is what she's got going on in her area, in the research coordination area, particularly around what the status is of research projects going on in community right now, the types of research projects, and kind of what the future looks like in terms of research in Six Nations. And one of the major components is that she's looking for feedback around what that future looks like. So there will be an opportunity. I believe there's surveys on your tables. So again, you fill out a survey, you get a raffle ticket. So on the completion of this video, fill out your survey, provide your opinions. Your feedback will directly inform future initiatives. And a lot of what you see here today is based on community feedback from other events. So those evaluation forms, those things like that, those all help to make these kinds of community events better each time we do them. So really appreciate any feedback, any thoughts you can give towards those. So we'll start the video, and you can continue to get your food and enjoy your food while you listen to the video.
Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I'm the Community Research Coordinator and Analyst for Six Nations of the Grand River. I work in the Planning, Performance, and Evaluation Department. I was born in Rossland, Ontario. I'm a friend to Six Nations, and it's a privilege to work for you. Indigenous data has been colonized and narrated through colonizers' perspective. To self-govern and exercise self-determination, Six Nations needs to tell our own stories from our own perspectives. This is why we are looking to get data and information about Six Nations back into our storage. We've been looking in the libraries and databases of these and more universities and organizations to find as much research that relates to the community as possible. Sometimes we can get in contact with a researcher who led a project and they're able to send us the data they collected. And most often these researchers can send us copies of the research they've done so that we can use them as reference material in planning and designing community supports. Finding and retrieving this research signifies an attempt at shifting the flow of research and data. In doing this, we are trying to re-establish a path where past research comes back to us, but also wait for new research to stay with us from the beginning. Better yet, we want to make it so that research is initiated and led by us. We want to move towards better ownership and control over our data and situations. We want to reconnect with how data can help us advocate for ourselves. Part of my role is to focus on how we can create these opportunities to increase access, control, ownership, and possession for data at Six Nations. So all that to say, we've been looking for all past research that's been done with the community so that we can work towards putting data back in your hands. We aim to build a website in the near future to make this accessible for you. We've also been creating ways for us to review and direct new researchers that want to carry out work in the community and ensure the work is monitored closely. So far, we have information on 114 projects that we know were completed in the community in our newly created central repository. We are also monitoring around 30 active projects. There are also around 59 projects that we have few details about, and we continue to learn more about them to find articles and data. We can use recommendations from research to create services that the community wants, and we can use study findings to build applications for funding. We can also use research suggestions to advocate for needed changes in the community. Many changes have occurred which were the direct result of gathering evidence through data in research. For example, in 1998, findings from a health research project called Share App produced 6 suggestions for healthy Six Nations. These suggestions were exercise regularly, stop smoking, eat in a wise manner, keep your weight down, be a role model for your children, and pass on your wisdom to your friends. These suggestions provided directions and helped shape goals for many programs and services that are available in health services today. Findings from the Share App project also helped health secure funding to build the White Pines Wellness Center and a dialysis unit. This is just one example of how, if research is based on data that represents community voices, it can lead to positive change and growth in the community. In categorizing all past research into the pillars of the community plan, we can see which sections are most often a research topic. For example, using this repository, we have found that many research projects line within the community plan pillars of well-being, culture, and Mother Earth. So far, we've found a lot less research on topics of wealth and economy, employment and education, community, built environment, or governance. This tells us that if there are priorities in those sections of the community plan, we can encourage that research focus on these areas in the future. Another important question we asked after creating this repository is, who's leading research in the community? We found that of all completed projects that we know of and currently have information on, around 10% of projects are led by SNGR teams and employees, 30% are partnerships between SNGR and external organizations, and 60% are initiated and led by external researchers like students from surrounding universities. We are looking at ways we can factor in how many students from the community are attending local university and leading projects, because we know it's important to support students from the community. closely review and monitor active projects to make sure data collected stays with the community. We will also continue searching for past research. We want to be able to share with you things we are monitoring, and we hope to build a website for doing so in the future. This work is currently underway by the Six Nations Research Ethics Committee. We also want to strategize ways we can build internal research capacity in the community by creating trainings and developing research assistants from the community and more. We will try to work with students in the community, only network with organizations whose values align with ours, and want to increase expectations on external researchers and reweigh our priorities as the only kind of research requests will accept. We want to more flexibly engage community to see what research priorities you might have in mind, and continue to get community feedback on how our processes are and maybe aren't working. Overall, we want to shift power. We want to be sure that Six Nations is the one making the calls about who comes to the community to research, what they research, and how they do it. The way we see it, right now, we are nurturing the future of research in the community could look like. With a combination of innovative and community-specific policies, community input, and continuous monitoring of research, we will continue to grow and learn, and most of all, we will continue to protect, celebrate, and center the community in our approach to advancing community research. If you would like to reach out to the research department to share ideas for research, provide your feedback on our work, or just talk research, we invite you to complete this 2-question survey. You can scan this card and complete a 2-question survey on your phone. Once you submit your survey, you can receive a raffle ticket from a staff member. Staff members will also have paper copies of the survey for those who prefer.
Okay, everyone, so on your tables, there is a hard copy of the survey. There is also a QR code that you can scan and do it on your phone. Once you complete that, you will receive another raffle ticket. At this time, we are doing another draw for 10 gift cards and our prize of the ILA package. So if your number is called, just raise your hand nice and high, and one of the staff members in the blue shirts will be around to you. And last call for tickets. We have a question? Your survey. Someone will also be around, Maggie will be around to get your surveys that you have completed. And while we wait for the raffles to be gathered, if you are looking for results from the COVID community study, you can either... Do we have QR codes yet? No. There will be QR codes available for you to scan the report. If you would like a hard copy, write your address on a sticky note, bring it up to the front, and we will mail it to you. All right, so we're going to do the 10 gift cards to Walmart and then the ILA gift package after that. So if your name is called, raise your hand nice and high. First number is 289 1905. All right, we have one over here. We have a staff member attending. The next number is 289-1527. 289-1527, right over here. The next number, 949-4135. Right over here. Do we only have Bella? Next number, 289-1358. 289-1358. Going once, 289-1358. Going twice, 289-1358. All right, next one. 289-1091. 289-1091. Right over here. What are we at? 3, 4, 6 more. 289-1885. 289-1885. Right over here. Right over here. Is Maggie doing surveys?
Right there.
3, 4, 5. 949418. 9494181.
Say it again, Sarah.
Sorry. 9494181. These numbers are making my eyes messed up. These numbers are making my eyes messed up. 3, 4, 5, 6. 289-1307. 289-1307. Bella, the next one's right behind you. Or right there. What's this?
8.
Number 8. Walmart gift card 8. 289-1188.
9.
Are you going to help Bella out? No, I mean like pointing. Next number, 289-1895. 289-1895. Way at the back. Last Walmart gift card. 9494073. 9494073. 473. Last call, 949-407-3. Nine four nine 4170. Okay, last one. How do we have to?
You probably missed it the first time you said it.
Yeah.
You just give it, yeah, over here. They want you to read the number again, I think.
949-4170. Was there one back there?
Maggie's back there now. Okay, Maggie can do it. Okay, should we read the ILA?
Okay, ILA. $250 gift card with some swag. $289-1082. Over there.
Okay. Great, thanks everyone. Okay, now let Maggie tell them to come up.
All right, so that's the end of that raffle section. Next, we will invite up Maggie to talk about her experiences with community engagement.
All right, Sego Sego Guego. Hi, everyone. My name is Maggie Yogolanio Paulus Lines. I am Mohawk Nation Wolf Clan. I am currently working as a data specialist in a trainee position with Six Nations of the Grand River. But before that, I worked as the senior research assistant on the Six Nations COVID community study. So some of you might remember me having enrolled with me. Today, myself and my colleague Bella are just going to introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about our experience as researchers who are from the community, as youth, as students, and sort of our journey into becoming more confident with research and becoming more confident with research in the community. So I will bring Bella up too. So the COVID community study, as we talked about, over 700 Six Nations community members participated, those who were vaccinated and unvaccinated, anyone who was over the age of 18. We included people who self-identified as belonging to Six Nations, both on and off reserve. So our job as researchers on that study was to host a variety of, so I'm being told to speak up. Our job on that study was to host a variety of recruitment events within the community. So we would try to recruit participants, we would work through surveys, we would do those blood samples, and we learned a lot. So for us as researchers who are from the community, we brought in a lot of knowledge about the community and also a lot of knowledge about research. We had to do a lot of listening and a lot of learning along the way. And we were committed to the responsibilities we had to community and also the responsibilities we had to doing good work and doing good research. So in a lot of ways, our first responsibility was to community. Our second responsibility was to our jobs as researchers. I'll just do a little intro. You can see me there. So I know I introduced myself a little bit. That's just a photo of me with my grandparents because I think it's cute. So in terms of academics, I have been really lucky to be supported by the community in doing my education. So I completed a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry in 2021 from McMaster University. And just this past November, I completed my Master's in Indigenous Public Health from the University of Toronto. And that was all with community support. So I'm really glad to be back in the community and able to bring what I've learned back here with me and feel like I'm doing better work now. I'll pass it over to Bella to introduce herself, and then we'll get started about what we've learned in our journey as researchers.
Thank you, Maggie. I'm Bella Licata. I am currently the research assistant for the Health Check-in Survey. My role basically consists of surveying the participants, helping out at events, and lending a hand wherever is needed. I am currently also in my undergrad at McMaster University for social work, and I'll be graduating next year, which I'm very excited for. And I'll pass it over to Jane now.
Hi everyone, my name is Jane Cavan-Henhock, and I am the Community Engagement Coordinator here at Six Nations. I was also the Community Coordinator for the COVID study and now with the Ongohonwe Health Check-in. And I just want to welcome everybody and thank you all as well for coming, and thank you for engaging with us on our studies that we have here at Six Nations.
And I'm back again. So a little bit about my experience with research. It has definitely not been linear. Research has always presented as a challenge for me. It was a topic that I didn't particularly was interested in, and I struggled to find enjoyment in it. When I stumbled upon a job listing for a research assistant, I was immediately intimidated, unsure if I had the skills to succeed in that role. However, working within this team and in this position provided me with a new perspective on research. I learned that research goes beyond academic articles. It involves engaging with the community and forming a connection with those around you. While the title may have initially intimidated me, I now find myself engaging in research daily, and it no longer feels like a daunting task. Research has become something I genuinely enjoy and find exciting. So if I could leave you guys with something to remember, it's to always try something new because you might end up liking it.
So we did a lot of learning throughout this study. A lot of us were coming from different educational backgrounds. I had done research in university, doing like lab research. And my experience with the community was really, really different. And so I think for a lot of us coming from universities, and when we have university partners, there's a lot of kind of arrogance that comes into doing research with the community. You think that you know what you're doing. You think that you know what you learned in school is the right way to do things. And what we learned as community researchers is we do bring a lot of expertise from our education, but we also had to always be learning and listening to the community because of some of the things that we learned in the institution just didn't apply here. They didn't work here. People didn't like what we were doing sometimes. And so we had to adapt the ways that we were doing research so that it actually suited the community. So some things that we knew as a research team, primarily composed of community members, is that food is really important. And even today, food was a central part of our event. I know a lot of people asked, will there be food? And so that was something we tried to prioritize with our events. And usually in research, there isn't a budget set aside for that, and we pushed to make sure that there was a budget so that we could have full meals, bring people together, and also offer a thank you for your time, for your energy to get out here, and for listening to us, for supporting us. Another thing we knew is that we love to talk. I know that we're a very social community. We have really complex and really strong social networks with one another. In community, off reserve, everyone's very connected. And so through the COVID community study, we implemented a referral program to try and get more participants. So this basically would incentivize people to talk and talk and talk about our study and bring other people into it. And that really, really worked. We were able to bring in over 700 people because of the strong networks that Six Nations has with each other. Another thing that we knew is that our community, our culture, and our history really matters. And in university and in research, they try to make you think that these things are separate, right? That our history doesn't matter, that our culture doesn't matter, that our language doesn't matter, but to us, we know that it's really central to the way that we go about research. It's really central to the information that we're gathering. It's really central to how we'll use that information to actually improve the health of the community. And so we were always trying to think of ways that we could incorporate cultural knowledge, think about language, think about relationships to land, think about who we are as Haudenosaunee people, and then how we can build our research around that, instead of having the research first and then figuring out how we as Haudenosaunee can fit into the research. That didn't make sense to us. And for us as community members, we have to assert this, and we have to be really strong and kind of pushy about this, because it's the way it should be done. Something that we learned from doing the research is that just because it is done that way, it doesn't mean it should be. And like I was saying, like the way researchers are trained, it often has excluded Indigenous people. It's excluded Indigenous knowledge. It's really devalued Indigenous knowledge. And so if we're doing research in the community, we need to think about the ways that we're prioritizing our own knowledge, that we're uplifting our own knowledge. For those of us who are still learning language, still learning culture, we also need to be learners, and we need to listen to other people in the community who know more than us. What's really exciting with the Ongoing Hawaii Health Check-In is that it's a project that is totally by community for community, and so it was developed kind of homegrown, and so it's custom made for the community. It's developed by the community, and I think that's really, really, really cool. So when we're gathering data too, and we're looking at information, we as a community also have different definitions of health. We have different measures that we should be looking at to assess health. There are different factors that impact health. I know in the COVID community study, there were questions about like racism and discrimination. And racism and discrimination happen really differently in our community than it does outside of our community, right? And so we should have questions that are built to understand that. Another thing that we learned, like I was saying, is letting the community lead. So the notion of research, I think it sounds kind of scary, and it can be kind of scary, but for us as researchers from the community, we know that the community already has all of the knowledge that we need in order to improve our health, in order to understand ourselves. And so for me as a researcher, I think of my role as being someone who can gather that knowledge that's already there and kind of energize it to tell the stories that we needed to tell in order to influence health and influence change. And so us as researchers are not generating anything new. We're not coming up with anything crazy. We're not discovering anything. We're just trying to tap into the knowledge that already exists within the community. And I also think that we can advance our community sovereignty, we can advance Haudenosaunee sovereignty, we can advance data sovereignty by uplifting the stories that are already here, by not devaluing all the knowledge that already exists here. And also for us as community, remaining authors of the stories that are told about us. So not having research papers that are written about us, without us. We're really in control of what is being told about us. And when I was thinking about this presentation and thinking about research, I often get asked about like what Indigenous research methods look like, or what Haudenosaunee or Six Nations research methods look like. And I think about it as the things that we already do as a community. Those are our research methods. And I think a lot of the things that make me a good community member are also the things that make me a good researcher. So sampling, recruitment, like I was saying, our social networks are the best way to tap into our people and get them involved in things. Data collection. I was talking to my uncle the other day, and he is so familiar with the land that he's on. He could walk past a tree and tell me that it had less leaves than it did last year. And that's our data collection, right? We're observers, we're hunters, we're gardeners, we know the land that we're on. We're always collecting data. Knowledge translation, so our creation story, our oral histories, our songs, our ceremonies, our wampum belts, these aren't just random arbitrary things. These are vehicles of knowledge, right? So knowledge translation, we're always sharing knowledge with each other, and we're a community of storytellers. I think everyone has a relative who they remember stories from years and years ago. And that's our knowledge translation. That's how we're carrying on all this information about ourselves and about the world to the future generations. And when it comes to research ethics too, I think for myself, research ethics, trying to do things in a good way, trying to take care of our families, and also having our grandparents tune us up. So for me, I think about like accountability. How am I doing good work? It's because the people involved in my work are actually getting impacted by these health issues, right? It's not at arm's length. It really critically matters how well I do my work. It matters that there's integrity and quality to it, because I'm watching my family get sick, right? Or I'm watching them be able to access health services or not be able to access things or not have enough data about them or have enough data. So it's really, really personal, and I think that makes us do better work when it's personal. And there's just my grandma again. There's been a lot of times when I've been away to school in like Toronto, for example, and I'm away from the community. Sometimes I'll be saying stuff or I'll be speaking or I'll be doing work, and I think about what my grandma would say if she heard me say it. And if I think she would be there shaking her head, then I try not to say that. So I think as people from the community, it's really, really good that we know the people who we're working with, because you can tell us when we're not acting right. And that's a good thing. And we want to be told how we can be better. And I think for Bella and I too, we're young and we're just learning. And we want to know how we can do better, because we were given this gift of education. We were given a lot of power with education in our positions as researchers, and we want to make sure that we're doing it right. So we want to hear. We want to be told. We want to be corrected. So in terms of the future of research, you're going to hear about the Ongwe Howe Health Check-in shortly. But this study was really, really great. The COVID community study was great because it brought in a lot of people like Bella and Jane and myself who maybe didn't have a lot of research experience before, but we're from the community and we know the community and we're eager to learn. And this taught us the research skills so that now so many of us can move into the Ongwe Howe Health Check-in and run it totally ourselves. So we want to keep in mind the importance of mentorship and of capacity building. It's pretty easy to learn research skills. It's really, really hard to learn a community. The future too, I'm hoping that this leads towards determining our own definitions of health, assessing our own health needs, and having our own ways of gathering knowledge, figuring that out for ourselves. And it's really exciting because some of that stuff we're just figuring out now, and it's not new ideas, but it's new ways of implementing them, I guess. And I feel like overall this will lead to better sovereignty over well-being, better sovereignty over our health knowledge. So the Ongwe Howe Health Check-in, I'm going to pass it over to their team shortly. I think we will skip our activity just because we're a little bit short on time, but we'll still be doing the raffle draws. Bella, do you want to jump in and talk about the prize? The big one. Big one? Yeah. But we'll draw for the what is it?
Oh, I don't know which one it is though. I thought it's the lacrosse one. Is it not? I don't know.
Okay, first we're going to draw for Walmart cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we're going to have Kendrew or Jane be the runners this time to hand out these cards. Okay, the first number is 289-1110. 289-1110. Nobody? Okay. Okay, 949-4099. 949-4099. Okay, 949-4186. 949-4186. Over there, awesome. Okay, the next one is 289-1867. 289-1867. Two 289-1867. Up here, awesome. Okay. 289-1102. 289-1102. 289-1703. 289-1703. Over there, yay. 289-1289. 289-1289. 289. Wait a minute. 289-1892. 289-1892. We got a lot of tickets. Sorry, guys. 949-4168. 949-4168. Over here, yay, one of the vendors. Okay. There's one over there, too. 289-1864. 289-1864. Oh, back over here. Two 289-1670. 289-1670. Back there again. Wow, lucky table over there. Just right behind you, Kendra. Yeah, making it easy for him this time. 289-1661. 289-1661. Oh, right over here. Awesome. Okay, I think we'll pause after that one and move on to the next presentation, and then we'll do a bunch more draws after. I just want to make sure we get this stuff done. Oh, yeah, we have a grand prize. Let's do that as our last one. So one of our prizes is this beautiful gift. You don't get the tree. The tree's for display. I know, sorry. I know, I'm glad she told me that. I know, it's really nice. But it has gift cards from, I think, 14 local businesses in the community. So, yeah, good to follow our community engagement presentation. So we'll draw for that one. Listen up. 289-1691. 289-1691. Okay, one final call, 289-1691. Yay, right at the back. Okay, awesome. Kendra will come take down your name, and then we'll make sure you get the gift card tree. All right, now I'll go, thanks everyone. I'll pass it over to Jackie for the Ongboy Home Health Check-in. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here and that you've stayed for my final presentation. So I'm going to be talking about the Ongwe Health Check-In. And so let's begin. I'm pretty sure you've already seen some photos and you've seen the team walking around with our logo t-shirts. Most of us are from the community, and we've really tried hard to recruit from the community. We're trying to build capacity with our own people, and we're making a really good start. We've got a really great team. We have a bunch of advisors. So Sarah Kelly Gordon from Health Services, Jen Walker. Is Jen here today? No? No. Okay, Stephanie McConkey, Michael Rotondi, who's our biostatistician, and Zach Miller from Planning, Performance, and Evaluation. So the check-in is a really in-depth survey that asks about a variety of things. It could be individual health things like, do you have diabetes? But there are also things that impact health, like education, or whether or not you're employed, or whether or not you have access to health care or clean water. So we're asking lots and lots of different questions. So it will be in person, it will be digital on tablets. So we have staff hired now who will be conducting these surveys with the community members. We're starting with a pilot, probably in next week, hopefully. And we're going to just test it on about 20 people. We're going to test it, revise it, and then move on to the community-wide survey. The idea is to recruit about 1,000 people, and that's for statistical reasons. We need that number of people so that we can kind of do the right analysis and kind of make predictions and things like that. And we hope to, repeat this maybe every 5 to 10 years. So in terms of eligibility, it's anybody who lives on the res, whether you're Indigenous or not, because we want to know who's living here. People are using services, and we're hoping that people will come forward and participate. And you have to be age 16 or older. And the other eligibility is people who are off reserve and living within, like, the surrounding territory. So we want to find out what kind of health conditions are prevalent in our community, looking at other factors that may have impacts on health. And we also kind of want to estimate population living on reserve and off reserve and nearby. It'll help us to predict how many beds we need in long-term care, for example. There are gaps in services or gaps in access. And everybody, I think, will be able to use this data in some way. That runs a Canadian Community Health Survey, and it goes out with the census, and Six Nations hasn't participated in that in forever. I think my brother was a young man, and it did not go well. There's another survey that's done by the First Nations Information Governance Center, and Six Nations has opted out of participating in that. And there are other surveys called Our Health Counts being done out of U of T, but they are in urban populations. Our own survey to answer our own questions. Yeah, we want to know things like individual health status, but we also want to know those other things that impact health, like housing, education, access to food and water. And then there are other things like things that colonization has brought to us, like the impacts of residential schools. Trauma, racism. Yeah, those are negative things, but we kind of acknowledge that that does continue to have lasting impacts on us, and so we'll be asking some questions of that. So this survey is by Six Nations. It's for Six Nations. It's been developed. It's been a long time coming. So it's been developed in consultation with lots and lots of people. A lot of people have had their eyes on this survey. And we're just in the home stretch of putting the final bow on it, I guess. Yeah, so we're all the team who are developing it. We're all from Six Nations. We know Six Nations, and we're tailoring it for us. So we ask questions about Haudenosaunee culture. Are you connected? Do you hunt? Do you garden? Do you gather? We ask about your membership, whether you have a status card, whether you're non-status but you feel like you belong to the community. What else? We're making an effort to include the off-reserve community because they often get left out in a lot of things. So I think that everybody is part of the community, even if you don't live here. And a lot of people just don't have the opportunity to live here, even though they'd like to. And we will also be offering services to any participants who we think might be in need of them. So we'll have lots of information and brochures and things. So if someone talks about needing their water tested, we'll be able to send them to the right place to get their water tested, or tell them about mental health counseling or food access programs, things like that. So we're going to try and take care of our participants and provide them with some information, any information that we think that they might need. And we're also making an effort to make things easy for our participants. So if you don't live in the community and you can't come to us, then maybe we can go to you. So we're willing to travel within that map to go and do surveys with people. And as I said before, some of the questions could be sensitive and could be kind of triggering to some people. So that's why we're doing it face-to-face. We want to be able to look after people and make sure that we're not harming them. And we want to kind of take their pulse a little bit and make sure that this is okay. And give them the opportunity to stop, take a break, or quit entirely if that's what they need to do. And as always, we prefer not to answer as an option in every question, because you should have that choice. Yeah, participants can skip any question, but they can also completely withdraw if they choose. As a form of reciprocity, we have decided that we would like to offer each participant a $50 gift card. The surveys could take up to 2 hours. Hopefully they take closer to 1 hour, but they could take up to 2, and we'll cut it off at the 2-hour mark. So a participant could get a $50 gift card, and they could also get some additional money if they refer somebody else. And we'll be providing food and drink just in case that might be someone's only meal that day, or if someone has low blood sugar, we're going to make sure that they're taken care of that way too. Oops. We're using survey software called Voxco. It's very secure. It's called, so it'll be encrypted. There'll be passwords. Names and identifying information will be hidden, so no one will have access to that. Once people put their data in, it will be secure. And Six Nations owns the data. We're not involved with any university. It's all ours. So like I said, we're starting with a pilot study of about 20 people, and that's going to happen very soon. And we're hoping to roll out the community-wide survey in April. And that's our logo, which you've seen everywhere. We're using a sampling strategy called respondent-driven sampling. And the idea of this is that we're going to choose maybe 10 seeds, people from the community who are very well connected. So say Jody here, I might give Jody 3 coupons, and I'll say, Jody, I'd like you to go and recruit 3 people. Go and talk to 3 of your friends and convince them that this is a good thing and that maybe they can join the study. So Jody will give his coupons out to 3 people, and they'll come join our study, and then we'll give each of them 3 coupons. And they'll go out and find their friends. Actually, after a few waves, we'll have those 1,000 people, we're hoping. And so I don't know if you've noticed in your swag bags, there are these chocolate bars. So we've been talking about finding the golden coupon. So that's what we want the community to know, that soon there will be golden coupons. And I hope that you will take them and share them and help this survey to be a success. Yeah, and the way that this survey works is that the 3 people can soon become 30 people, can become 90 people, 270, 810, and so on. Okay, topics in the survey are like mental well-being, Haudenosaunee identity, sociodemographics, health history, connection to culture, substance use, and housing. Housing's a really big topic. We're about to hire our 4th research assistant this week. Actually, next week I think we interview. We've got 3 at the moment. We'll have a 4th. And they're all going to be trained in various things that have to do with research, that have to do with taking care of other people and taking care of themselves. And yeah, they've been priority hired from our community. I can't hear you, I'm sorry. A deadline. We're hoping that we can get it done within a year, if not sooner. But it'll all depend on workload, I guess. As it is with those four research assistants, they will be pretty busy to complete it in a year. Okay, so keep an eye out for the coupons because they're going to start rolling in. We'll probably make an announcement when we've actually chosen those seeds. And those seeds will start to go out to the community and start to help recruit you. So what I would ask of you is that you consider this. I really want to assure you that we're doing this in a good way and that it is really a good thing and that we need it. And please talk about this with your family and your friends and say, don't be afraid of this because we're doing it for us. And it can only benefit the community. And that's pretty much all I have to say. I will, what? Oh, we have something else?
Is that for the Livestream ending?
Yeah.
So can I do final thoughts first?
Sure.
Okay. Before we wrap up our live stream, I'm just going to have some final thoughts for the day. So we're really thankful for everyone that came out today. Oh, it's loud. Everyone that came out today. Thank you for your reflections, for your engagement throughout. And kind of joining in on this process. Because as you heard, it's kind of been a journey for all of us where we started and to where we are today. And it's been really inspiring to see our team grow, to see the amount of capacity that we've been able to generate these last couple years has been truly inspiring. Just some reminders, if you could submit your feedback forms. So I have some staff members that are participating that are handing out the feedback forms. There's also a form that has the QR code, so the activity that was being done for the first presentation, you can still provide your thoughts into that through that QR code. We also have the electronic version of the report. If you would like a hard copy, please write your mailing address, give it to us at the front, and we'll be sure to send you a hard copy. During the first presentation, you saw a lot, or you heard about the impacts the pandemic had on community, on kind of specific groups, and just as a whole. And there were even some recommendations around how do we take care of community, how do we address the impacts of the pandemic, and there were some recommendations around everyone needs to be supported. So that leads me to promotion of another upcoming event that kind of ties in nicely to this one. So on April 27th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., there will be a COVID healing event, and it will be a time for us to just come together and acknowledge what we all went through as a community. So again, that'll be April 27th, and you will receive more information regarding that. So anyone who completes the raffle, anyone who provides their input will receive a raffle ticket. Am I good now?
Yeah, so give them time to get the last draw.
Okay. All right, we're going to do the last draw now. You want to do that?
This is your last call for getting a ticket into the raffle bin. If you have anything, raise your hand and Tristan can come to you. Well, I've been asked to remind everyone that it is time to change your clocks. It is spring forward. It's not fall back. It's spring forward, so set your clocks ahead 1 hour tonight. So after this draw, the live stream will be ending, and we'll
Okay, so we can start with Walmart gift cards. Walmart gift card 1.
Okay, 9494074. That's for a Walmart gift card. 9494074. Over there.
Right there, Kendra.
Raise your hand again. Kendra is over there.
Yeah, I'm trying to delay it.
The second, 1085. Over there. The third Walmart gift card is 2891093. 2891093. 2891279. Going once? Going twice? I'll say it one last time. 2891279. Okay, moving on. 2891585. Over against the window. So this is the sixth one. 2891224. 2891224. Poor Kendra, he has to zigzag. Or the kitchen again. And number 7 is 2891854. Okay, this is number 8, 2891059. 2891059. Oh, over here. Well, they're really making you work, Kendra. Hustle, hustle. Okay, number 9 is 2891450. 289, oh, there it is. That light blue table.
card, right?
Yeah, this is the last Walmart gift card. It's 289-1852. 289-1852. Going once. Going twice. 289-1852. Okay, moving on. Okay, this is the last Walmart gift card, I hope. 289-1417. 289-1417. 28. Oh, there it is. Great.
So it's $50 Walmart, $50 gas, $1,000 Great Wolf Lodge.
Okay. The grand prize is, oh, no, there's a couple tickets that just came in. Someone has a last chance. Okay, so the grand prize is $50 Walmart card, $50 gas card, and $1,000 gift cards for Great Wolf Lodge. So exciting. Okay, here it is. It's 289-156-2. 289-1562. There it is at the back. Yay, kids won! Yay! Awesome. Thank you. And do we have Bruce or someone for the closing? Anything else? We're done. I don't know. Are we doing? We're done. We're done. Live stream again. Okay, we're ready to close the live stream, and I hope you had a good time. I hear the food was really good, and it's been great. Nyawa.